On the profile interview segment this week, I will be speaking with the President of the United Labour Congress, Comrade Joe Ajero, who is also the General Secretary of the Nigerian Union of Electricity Employees. He will be sharing with us what the federal government and relevant authorities need to do to ensure that pensioners of the Nigerian Security, Printing and Minting Company have better welfare. Have you on the program.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
After our last discussion on the Nigerian Security Printing and Minting Corporation, there's been a development. The verification of exercise actually took place again. And once again, I don't know if there will be hope for these pensioners to receive a review on their salaries. Before now, verification of exercise takes place every 4 years, but they got verified last year, and now they're being verified again this year. What does this signify?
Well, in the first instance, I have to look at it from two angles. You know, it may be a positive development that the management seem to have realized the situation, and hence they need to invite them for a possible review. Based on the report that we have been aired in the media. The other option might be, every biometric exercise is usually attached with some funds. Most organizations hire consultants to conduct biometric exercises, and it is from there that fraud is perpetrated in organizations. So you see organizations doing biometrics, because that's their own way of pulling out money from the fund. So whichever, either of the two, because it doesn't require biometrics for them to know what they're paying. It doesn't require it at all. It is, at most, if the policy they have is that of paying the pensioners 1,000. That's the policy. If they want to review it, they will review it, based on public outcry, and not for another biometric exercise. So I think either of the two might be the reason. Certain level of corruption might have been factored into this issue, and the beneficiaries can be the retirees.
Okay, from my observation, when I looked through the verification paper that the company presented to these pensioners, it's obvious that they are aware that these pensioners receive a salary of 1,000 naira or thereabouts on a monthly basis. How do you rate such government agency that still does this to its workers?
Well, if management, if they are aware and they're still inviting them for verification, one starts to wonder, the essence of it. That means the other option that I was mentioning, seemed to be the order of the day. Because if you are paying somebody 1,000 naira a month, and their plight that they are suffering, what you are supposed to do is not to invite them again to pay transport, to come and queue a whole day. You should have looked at it, assessed it, and say, okay, we are reviewing by so percentage. We are reviewing by such amount. And then at worst, you do review periodically. If they were reviewing every 2 years or every 3 years, at the next review date, after you might have announced the increase, then you do proper biometrics to find out how many people have died. Because what they're doing now is like trying to find out, oh, these people are still alive, by the biometrics they are doing now. But if they are really feeling the pains of these guys, the first thing to do is to increase their pension. Now, if they don't want to do it automatically, it shouldn't have been a general biometrics. They should have invited their representatives to discuss with them the percentage of increase they want to implement.
Would you say that these ex-mint workers are treated fairly?
How can you say that? How can somebody being paid 1,000 that is not enough for you to enter motor to go and collect it be treated fairly? I think that's the highest level of wickedness, and in the previous edition I was clear about it. Anybody that is paying a fellow Nigerian 1,000 every month is not worthy to be moving freely. Person should be wasted in jail.
Many of these ex-workers complained about the amount of money they spend on transportation. They receive 1,000 naira monthly as pension, and when they come to be verified either in Lagos or in Abuja, they spend as much as 10,000 naira, 15,000 naira just to get verified. And according to them, many of their colleagues can't even afford transportation to even be verified. What's your take on this?
So you cannot see from what I'm saying that to them in Mint, verification is a punishment. Clearly, it's not for the purpose of maybe increasing salary or whatever. In most instances, in most organizations that are well organized, even when you invite people for such exercises, you facilitate their movement. You make it less cumbersome and stressful. You make sure you reduce the financial burden on them. But if you do it this way, I'm sure some of them are aged, some have gone to the villages, and you are paying 1,000, 2,000 as pension. Some of them may decide not to come. By the next payment, you say that you didn't see them, you wouldn't pay them. So I think there is need for us to put the human touch in whatever we are doing, especially as it affects these people. That is a special case. I can't even see why people should be living on 1,000 naira a day. Well, there should be review, immediate review, for them to receive their pension. Immediate review, and they should be paid a living pension. Pension that is sustainable. And in fact, I would suggest that even such pension should be backdated. They should get arrears of what they are being paid now, because this level of inhumanity is unheard of.
What are your expectations following the successful completion of this verification exercise? I'm having two minds here, because I thought it's a green light, but from your comments, it's obvious that there are so many things that needs to be unraveled to ensure that we find a lasting solution to this challenge.
Well, I think if verification is to be seen as positive development, what happened to previous exercises? Because I'm not sure this is the first verification exercise. I'm not sure that at the end of every verification that these guys had, gotten higher pays or pay rise. No. But if this verification is as a result of the media reports, I think the first thing to have been done should have been to have a committee, a high-powered committee, to investigate whether this is actually true. And that should be from the federal government. And what should be the appropriate, pension for those that worked in such a sensitive area going forward. Now, if you establish this, you can now, based on data from the previous verification exercise, if you are now querying the authenticity of those reports, you can now do a clearer verification exercise, and you don't make it a routine every minute of the day. You do verification and people are still earning 1,000. And I'm telling you that those officers who are conducting the verification will not be paid 1,000 a day. So you see a situation whereby you take 100,000 to do verification of 1,000. I think that's wastage.
While I was trying to ensure coverage of the verification exercise during the week, some of the security officials of NSPM tried to stop us from covering this process. Why do you think they'll be scared? What do you think they're scared of?
Well, I think it's nothing but fear. They have not done very well, and probably they didn't know that this will come to limelight. And bringing it to limelight is an indictment not only to them, but to state operators. Those that are responsible for pension, those that are responsible for administration in this whole country. They can't be excused. They can't be pardoned, for allowing people to be paid 1,000 naira at this time and age. I don't know under what arrangement they are paying them 1,000. Definitely, it's not under the contributory pension scheme. I'm not sure they even contributed during that time. Fine, if they have a trustee, what law guides it? Is it the old pension policy? That you receive your pension for life. What percentage of their salary were they collecting? Or are they giving them dash? How did they arrive at 1,000 monthly? So these are issues. And in all organizations, pensions are reviewed with time. See, somebody was getting pension of 1,000 in 1970, he can continue to get pension of 1,000 today.
I'm concerned about the ex-soldiers that were requested for by NSPM to come and join them to ensure that ballot papers were actually produced some years ago. My concern is these soldiers are not even captured for verification exercise. That means they served their fatherland that means they served their fatherland for more than 30 years, and yet they don't receive any form of pension.
Well, I think something is not clear to me there. Now, if you work in an organization and you are on secondment to another organization, some organizations, their conditions of service indicates that the period you served on national assignment or you are seconded to another organization will be counted as your pension year, or be calculated when your pension has been added when your pension is. Some will even say including NYSC. Now, ordinarily, they should collect their pension from the military. But that number of years they spent in a printing and minting should be calculated to them when their pension is being calculated. I don't know whether there's anything different from this. And if there's an arrangement, which is not possible, because for them to be paid pension from the mint, then the period they spent will be added, because there's merger of service.
Yes.
It will be, their service will be merged and their salaries paid, by whichever agency is responsible for the payment of salaries of either mint or the soldiers. But I know that if they were seconded to mint to work there and they are soldiers, they will retire as soldiers. And if they retire as soldiers, the Ministry of Defense will pay them salary. If there's a discharge certificate before they resume work in mint, it then means they are working there as legion. Now, what now counts is the appointment letter at the point of entry. If they were engaged normally, they should be entitled to pension. If they are not, and it happened when we have not started contributory pension, then there is a problem there. Mint has to take care of what they will do to them after service.
Okay, so
whether they are paid ex gratia or lump sum or pension, it has to be determined based on the terms of their engagement at a point of entry.
Finally, as a labor leader who fights for workers and the rights of workers and pensioners, and who is seen as the voice of the voiceless, what's your take on this issue? What do you think should be done? Do you think there should be a committee that will be set up immediately to ensure that these workers don't die in penury?
Well, if we restrict it to the mint, I think whatever is happening there should be given accelerated attention for the workers there or the ex-workers there to receive their rightful pension. And those of them who might have died in the course of this, their families or their next of kin should be paid. You know, what should have gone to them in the first instance. 2, whatever might be the law forbidding unionization in that sector should be eliminated. There should be immediate unionization in that sector, because if there were people representing them in that sector, we won't be in this situation today. If we allow this to continue the way it is, and people know that they will get a pension of 1,000, our security printings will not be safe.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Bless you. God bless.
And that's all we can take on today's edition of the show. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the program. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember, labor creates wealth.